Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Bitcoin price prediction based on Elliott Wave analysis. I wish you all a happy Sunday, and this video is specialized for the indicators. We're gonna see what Bitcoin is aiming to do today and what we might expect next week. Also, if the indicators are aligning with our possibilities. As a reminder, for our 2 and 1 hour chart here, possibility where we still have a potential ABC here. Now, it can be, of course, something transitioning to a large 1, 2, 3, and then we currently can be in a large wave 4 and a 5. But of course, we need, of course, here to check if we're gonna get a wave 4 first, which is, of course, can be two possibilities right now as per Elliott Wave. So the possibilities are right now a wave 4 that it might be, of course, a zigzag here, where you have already a wave A. We're looking for an wave B there, and wave C is still unfolding toward the upside. Now the wave C, of course, can be hitting the 1-to-1 fib level here, and of course can be something looking for higher at 1-to-1 78K. If this is the case, that means, of course, if we get a rejection from the 78K, this is a case of a wave 4 zigzag and pushing toward the downside. Another possibility is a triangle in a wave 4, which is an A, B, C, D, and an E here, where it might finish, of course, a perfect wave 4 as characteristic triangle, and then, of course, pushing for a wave 5 toward the downside again for a new low. Now, of course, there is even worst case scenario for the bearish here, which it can be, of course, double 1-2 there, as double 1-2, wave 3, having a wave 4 here, which it can be, of course, unfolding a wave 5 still toward the downside. Now, I doubt this because, of course, the wave 4 time is far from this wave 2. And also, this is not a wave 1. It's definitely a corrective wave, very complex one, WX and a Y. So therefore, I'm still looking actually to take the high or to range sideways here. However, of course, a highest possibility due to the impulse that we have here on the 15-minute chart, we have several 1-2s, starting, of course, with a leading diagonal wave 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, 4, and a 5. However, as you can see that currently the price is slowing down, so we gotta be careful. We got a signal that the price has started to slow down here as a zigzag, and a potential, of course, formation for an ending diagonal, which it can be even here, potentially starting a new wave 1 there, and of course having a wave 1 and then wave 2, 3, 4, and a 5 to hit the short target for wave C. So don't forget as well that you might get a short target for wave C here, that it might be even around the 0.618 there. And of course, hitting potentially this scenario, and of course, in Confluence, you have a wave 5, for the wave taken from the wave 1, and based on the wave 3 here, giving us, of course, in Confluence, a wave 5, of course, in between those targets. So you have the 0.618 here in Confluence with the wave 5 taken, of course, from the wave 1. So we have Confluence 72K 800 and around it, that it might take anyway the high here, taking the high, and then of course starting to see something pushing for lower. So what I'm expecting here, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, something like this as an ending diagonal that it can be unfolding there for Bitcoin. And then we gotta be careful if it's gonna push toward the downside. However, of course, the reaction has to be reanalyzed there. But we gotta be careful. We gotta be ready for this in case, of course, we see a rejection toward the downside. Now, also possibility to get some rejections only in case we see something impulsive taking the low here. This might be an indication here, of course, for something lower. And that means, of course, confirmation for lower prices. That because, of course, we might be in a triangle possibility here without taking the high and seeing some weakness in validation of the ending diagonal. That means, of course, this is something, unfolding as a triangle potentially, and then, of course, looking for something lower again. Yep, so this is regarding Elliott Wave on the micro level 1 hours and a 15-minute chart. So starting with the 50-minute chart for the RSI and MACD, as you can see, we have a bearish convergence here, or divergence, I would say, which is of course stronger here, and potentially, of course, signaling something to push for lower prices. So we gotta be careful. The 15-minute chart shows some weakness. The RSI is currently at the center and a little bit below it. So if we drop it down, we gotta be careful. This might continue, of course, further lower, and it might indicate, of course, something as a weakness here. However, it's still, there is a possibility even for a potential A, B, and a C, which it can be, of course, deeper correction wave 4, and then starting again toward the upside here after reaching the RSI oversold area. Currently as well on the MACD, you can see as well that we have a bearish cross with the signal and the MACD line here, opening a momentum for the bearish as well. So we gotta be careful. We might dive a little bit deeper, of course, here within the price for Bitcoin. So yeah, trade safe with this one. I think there is a little bit of risk here if we continue towards the upside or not. If we, of course, make a transition to something as a triangle, or it can be, of course, ABC expanding flat and then pushing toward the upside again. On the 1 hour chart as well, we can see that this convergence is following up as well on the 1 hour chart. We can see also that the RSI couldn't reach higher than the previous high in the overbought area, and we start to see some weakness there, so be careful, we might drop down as well. The MACD also, yeah, this is a very interesting signal on the MACD because the momentum couldn't develop, okay? So if the momentum couldn't develop, this is a signal of weakness as well on the MACD. We gotta be careful. We're getting also a bearish cross on the 1 hour chart here. So I suggest, of course, to be careful again within this zone, especially also Elliott Wave confirm it that we are in a zigzag here, and the formation of something as an A, B, and a C, which can be very deep, or it can be, of course, a 1, 2. Also, the wave 2 can be deeper, and then 3, 4, and a 5 toward the upside. If we move to the 4 hours chart, now the 4 hours chart is a little bit different. I would say it's still open for higher, can still, of course, get a little bit higher, but it looks like the price needs some relief here before pushing for higher in case this is gonna happen. In case that it dropped down continuously, well, we gotta be careful from the triangle again, that it might be unfolding. Now for the MACD as well, the 4 hour chart is still open. The MACD and the signal line are still open above the center line, so this is a signal of strength. Still can create a new momentum towards the upside at any time, of course, after this correction, in case there is a deeper one, potentially for an ABC expanding flat, and then continuation toward the upside. The 4 hours on the MACD still can be there, or it's the same, I would say, for the RSI. On the daily as well, for the RSI and the MACD, we can see a nice signal also. For the daily, we see, of course, a bullish cross here for Bitcoin with the MACD and the signal line. And of course, the RSI after the oversold area on the daily. That means, of course, yeah, I mean, normally when Bitcoin does this, we, of course, push toward the upside very massively normally. It's not necessarily, of course, to take the all-time high, but when we take the daily oversold area, well, we see a new resistance toward the upside. Now, the previous one was a total failure. Of course, it was a total correction and even very shallow, and took, of course, the overbought area very early. But currently, I would say the things might be a little bit much more different. It can still, of course, push for higher here, and it can unfold, of course, something as an impulse continuously here as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 potentially. In case this happen, well, I would say our scenario on the daily, if you see it in the deep analysis, can be an A, B, and a C here, of course, for a regular flat, yeah. So, and then pushing for a final wave C, finishing the bear market as a regular flat, 3 ways down, 3 ways up for 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, taking the low at 56K and starting a new bull run. Don't forget also from within the deep analysis, we have mentioned that there is a possibility even to push for higher for a new all-time high in an expanding flat A, and then B, of course, taking the all-time high 130K can be very likely, and then, of course, tricking everyone that we are going for a new all-time high very massively, and then, of course, open for a massive wave C, aggressive one, toward the downside to finish the bear market, of course, and then pushing later on toward the upside for a new all-time high, 200K and above for Bitcoin. So I would say the RSI and the MACD line confirms somehow a push toward the upside ABC that it might be unfolding in the next days. So I would say, yeah, I trust a little bit much more the daily on the MACD and the RSI. They might be, of course, a little bit more accurate here than the lower time frame, and they might, of course, unfold something as a wave B at least. It can be regular flat, or it can be an expanding flat with a new all-time high here, and then pushing towards the downside, whether from the regular flat wave B or the expanding flat wave B. Both are flat. Don't forget, it's a wave B. It's a tricky one, the most trickiest wave that you might get, of course. And it might be, of course, very impulsive sometimes in a zigzags, yeah, for an expanding flat, which is impulse, correction, impulse. And you might, of course, get tricked that this is a bull run and then pushing very, very massively toward the downside for a wave C. So, yeah, we're going to watch this closely, of course. As usual, we'll see if this is going to happen. But, yeah, we'll see any kind of indications for it. On the weekly, well, even on the weekly, we are in the oversold area for Bitcoin. So this is a very, very rare case that we see the weekly in the oversold area. And this is, of course, very interesting. The last weekly here in the oversold, we saw our bull run, which was a massive one, the most craziest one, from the 15K to the 126K, 27K. And then pushing really massively toward the upside. Currently, with this shallow correction, we got already an oversold area here on the RSI. And as I mentioned, this correction is going to be shallow because, of course, we are in a wave 3 over 3. Go back to the deep analysis from yesterday, okay? And you will understand exactly what I mean with it. So it has to be a shallow wave 2. It has to be a regular flat 56K, not breaking even this technical area as stronghold area here. And we might push towards the upside very massively, 200K for Bitcoin. So this gives me a little bit higher confidence right now that yes, we are going to have a shallow wave 2 here because, I mean, we took the weekly, guys. It's a very, very low, it's a very, I would say, not often to take the weekly, only when we have bull runs. Yeah, so only when you have bull runs, you have a weekly oversold area for Bitcoin. As this is the weekly here, this is a bull run, another bull run, and another bull run, and currently we might get another one. Can it be the WXNY finished wave 2 already and very fast? Well, I would say yes, it can be, guys. It is a possibility before the time, knowing that the time required is, of course, here for wave 2 is 0.38. But if the market wants to trick us and do this, because as I mentioned, wave 3 over 3 is always very shallow and very fast. If this is gonna happen, that is a big, huge trap. So it might happen. So we gotta be careful. But we're gonna watch it, yeah. But that's why I'm looking for a possible new all-time high, tricking everyone that this is the bull run there, and then pushing for a wave C, expanding flat, and then again 200K. So this scenario is very likely to happen, and that because of course the signal also on the RSI is over there. Now for the MACD, of course it is still open for lower, the signal and the MACD line, and the momentum is building up, but I believe this cannot really sustain so much. It's gonna reverse sooner or later, and this might be, of course, the start for something bullish again. If we compare this before with the bull run, also there with the oversold area RSI on the weekly, you will realize that it was the same thing on the MACD, open, signal, and also building momentum. So, and I would say the momentum here has already built up so far, even longer than the previous bull run, bear market here. Yeah, so we have a very long already sell area here. So yeah, I would say the things are looking great for Bitcoin. I see, of course, a retracement, at least, of course, as an A, B, and a C for Bitcoin. Now, the micro level, it doesn't matter so much. Of course, it might struggle a little bit, but I think the things might continue further toward the upside. If we take a look at the KGT, on the KGT, of course, 30-second time frame here, we have a bullish signal, invalidation of bearish. That is an indication, of course, that something is still, of course, looking for higher. This is a correction pushing downward, and it might be, of course, the A, B, and a C, of course, expanding flat wave C1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, taking the low here, and then start, of course, a new high toward the upside. If we take a look also on the 1 minute chart here for Bitcoin, we can see also that the invalidation for the bearish is still there. Bullish is still, of course, existing. I would say one more low can, of course, signal here a new push toward the upside with a new bullish signal, of course, that it might push the things even for higher. A little bit a bigger time frame for Bitcoin here on the 3-minute chart as well. We have, of course, an invalidation for the bearish. So, of course, invalidation as well for the bullish. I would say no, it's still calculating. Okay, so we have a bullish signal, and of course, the bearish is also, of course, taking something higher, because don't forget that we might be in a large wave 4 and it's still putting some pressure there until, of course, we get invalidation as per Elliott Wave. Let me explain this. Of course, don't forget that we might still be in this wave 1, 2, and wave 3 here, and large wave 4, and then pushing down. So the pressure is coming, of course, from this wave 3, of course, putting a pressure for wave 5 there to unfold, in case this will unfold something higher. So we'll see, of course, if this is gonna happen. So yeah, on the 3-minute chart, of course, this is still signaling, of course, to be careful with it. And we can see that the reference point is coming from the wave 2 there, and of course that we might get a wave 5 unfolding toward the downside. But we will see, of course, maybe we're gonna get invalidation. Nobody knows, because of course invalidation is taking, of course, this price 78K. If we take it, then yeah, it is already invalidated here. So we'll see how this is gonna happen. This is regarding KGT, and finally we're gonna see as well the EMAs here. Starting with the 1-hour chart on the EMA, we can see also the price is pushing it above the 200 EMA here, which is very interesting. Finally, we see this. Since a very long time, we didn't saw the price, of course, above the EMA here, 200, since January 19. And since 1 month, guys, almost, the price currently, of course, is pushing above the 200 EMA here. That is a signal of strength. It might continue, it might not. We're going to see, of course, also what's going to be the reaction over there on the 4-hour chart, because yes, we might also hit the 100 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, which it is, of course, already the short wave C, don't forget, or it can be, of course, the longer wave C as 1-to-1 fib level at 78K here, which it is aligning already with our possibilities and target, as you can see perfectly. Yeah, so they align perfectly with our targets. So we'll see, guys, what the reaction is gonna be over there. On the daily as well, we can see as well the bearish cross, of course, is still there. And of course, we see the price, yeah, very far from the EMAs here. But yeah, it still can, of course, rebound. There is nothing that it says it cannot rebound there. If we go back to history, of course, we can see that, yeah, I mean, this happened already in the bearish market. Once we get, of course, a bearish cross, it can be, of course, that you might start to push toward the upside after it. However, yeah, I mean, we need maybe some range here until we reach, of course, the EMAs, and then starting to breaking it slowly. Yeah, so I would say this is gonna need some time. Yeah, it's gonna need some time. It's gonna range a while in this area once we come to break, of course, those EMA. So we might need, of course, sometimes to let the EMA, of course, cross in bullish again, of course, and rebound toward the upside. So yeah, I would say the EMA on the daily are scary. Of course, they are still very open. They look very bearish, especially with the bearish cross. But nothing says that the price cannot push toward the upside to meet those EMAs, and then, of course, start to pushing sideways, while the EMAs start to, of course, rebound here toward the upside. So this is what I'm expecting there for the EMAs to happen. Of course, we're gonna get a range here, and then yeah, possibly, of course, a bullish again toward the upside. We'll see how this is gonna happen. This was